Hi friends. So in this particular section and slide, we are going to talk about stakeholder communication management. How are we going to communicate and what are the different ways in which we can communicate with the stakeholders? And when we talk about communication management, there are different verticals of communications which we need to have in mind, in which we need to have knowledge of, like we need to have knowledge of media. We need to understand content management. We should have knowledge on the methods of communicating this with the stakeholders. We should have knowledge on frequency of engagement. So these are different areas and verticals on which we need to have a discussion, and that's why we are going to discuss these things. Like media, we have written, oral, formal, informal. Content management, how are we going to manage the content which we are thought of distributing within the stakeholders? Is it is it in a detail? Is it on a table? Is it on a summary? Is it on a graph, visuals, or metrics? What are the different methods of stakeholder communication management? Is it a push mechanism or a pull mechanism, or is it an interactive? Frequency of engagement, like stakeholder update model. So, content, media, vertical, horizontal, method, frequency of engagement, we are going to study these things in the detail. Yeah, so this is stakeholder communication management extended. And here we talk about the media. So media is like written, oral, or formal, informal. So the choice of media, it actually is a best modality to use when communicating is the one that is most relevant to the information that's being communicated. Some communications demand a formal report, whereas others only warrant a phone call or an email, a face-to-face meeting or a memo. So relevant to the information and depending upon the information which we want to distribute within the stakeholders, we can go within the formal report or a memo or an email or a face-to-face meeting or conference calls, etc. The right media, please understand this, that the right media is dictated by what needs to be communicated and what is the frequency of the communication and when it needs to be communicated. If it is something which needs to be communicated face to face, then it is actually of a very high importance where we need to have a face to face meeting. When we send some information on an email or a memo, that means we are giving the stakeholders a liberty to read that email and come back to us after some point of time in case they have any issues regarding the information. Calls is something where we want the response then and there. So depending upon the information, the relevant, the importance of the information will go with the choice of media. Second is content management, which is detail. So we can manage the content, the information, whatever information is required by the stakeholders, their engagement level, each and everything. Or while we are managing a, a project, each and every aspect of the project is managed in the form of data in different tables, graphs, summary, visuals, metrics, details. So depending upon the engagement level, information requirements, everything, the content will choose or will have the choice of the storage where we are going to manage these contents in the form of detail, table, summary, graph, visuals, metrics. Methods of communication management. All communication methods could be classified into these following, like push mechanism, pull mechanism, and interactive. Push, when we are sending something very to some specific recipients, like we have higher management, we want to give them a summarized, a very adept information, and we want them to be abreast of all the progresses, all the issues, risks and challenges whatever we are facing, if we are able to meet the deadlines or not. So each and every information about the project success status reports are sent to the higher management. So these are called push mechanism. For examples, letters, emails, faxes, memos, where we are sending it to the specific recipients, and if we want them to have these details and updates at a regular intervals periodically. Pull mechanism, when information is very large and the stakeholders are neutral or maybe resistant, but we want them to be updated. So in that case, the audience list is huge. Websites, project intranet, shared paths can be used to send them or update those informations and give those stakeholders access on those websites, shared paths, and they can, as and when they are free as per their convenience, they can go onto that shared paths or websites and can access these information and have an idea about the project status and the project reports. Interactive, like conference calls, these mechanisms involve multi-directional exchange of information. For examples, phone calls, video conferencing, these are interactive, where we are going on a face-to-face meeting or maybe on a call where we'll go into the discussions where we want the answers then and there. We want the views to be exchanged. We want the distribution and exchange of the ideas, the opinions, and the views. And depending upon that, any change log or change request or any changes within the projects can be discussed and then proceeded further by the project team. Vertical and horizontal. So vertical is something where we want the information to flow from top to bottom or bottom to top, and horizontal is where we want the information communication to be happen among the peers. So project related communications can be vertical or horizontal. Typically, most of these formal communications flow down to the project team from the project manager. Like project manager goes in discussions with higher management, and as and when any changes in the projects are devised or decided, then those informations are flown down from the project manager to the project members within the team. The communications may be vertical, visual, or paralingual, which is supposed to be the most powerful means of communication, where we are going in on a visuals also and verbals as well, like paralingual. This is the most important and most powerful means of communications. So here in this particular slide and area, we are trying to discuss all the different modes, methodologies, choices, content management methodologies. So each and every aspect of the communication management we have studied here. I hope this communication management would help you to land at a better place and manage your stakeholders more successfully. Thank you.